All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And today's topic is going to be about rage quitting and XDefiant. Now, before we get to that, Mark Rubin actually managed to kind of drop a few gems here and there on Twitter or X. And as you guys know, he and the team are probably like, just working on getting bug fixes going and into the next update, which is partially about what this tweet is about, but. Anyway, it all started out with Nolan.gg saying, I've seen a lot of hate for XDefiant lately here on X. Yeah, talk about it, man. I see it in my comments section all the time. I think its future is promising. So far, the dev team and Mark Rubin have done a great job with updates and keeping us in the loop. I personally can't wait to see where this goes. Let me know what you think. And Mark Rubin saw this and actually decided to reply, and he said, and we're going to just keep making it better and better rather than just trying to sell you a new game that may or may not actually be better than the previous one. Oh man, shots fired at Call of Duty. All right, and there's another gentleman named Reese that kind of responded to that saying, getting praise, yet not even an update on fix for career stats that have not updated since season 1. LOL. Might not be a game breaker, and there's definitely more pressing matters with gameplay to fix, but it doesn't fill me with much hope. Just food for thought. And Mark decided to reply to this and said, fix coming, probably next patch, pending test verification. So what we have here is kind of a little bit of a hint of what's coming in the next patch, and that is fixing the combat record. And who knows, maybe even updating it as well. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Every once in a while when he does reply or say something on Twitter or X, it does kind of give hints here and there, but this is definitely not the first time that Mark has taken shots at Call of Duty. And quite frankly, out of anybody who could be taking shots at Call of Duty, I would probably say he is the most qualified to take shots. And the reason why is simply because of the fact that, number one, he worked there for 15 plus years or so. And then, of course, number two is why, he probably knows from a firsthand perspective, and it's not probably, actually, he knows from a firsthand perspective in terms of what is going on with COD and everything in there. Now, granted, he probably hasn't been with them for a few years because he's been with Ubisoft and XDefiant or whatnot, but you guys get the deal. This guy is not just a guy who was, who's on the outside looking in. This guy was in there, you know what I mean? And he was a major player as well, having a lot to do with, all the games that have come out before he ended up stopping. So anyway, let's talk about the topic of discussion today, shall we? And that is rage quitting. Now, the other day when I played this game, and I have a little screenshot here that I put in my community tab, and the score isn't too impressive, to be honest. It was just a team deathmatch, but the score wasn't too impressive. But I do specifically remember, I believe it was in that game specifically, to where I just kind of went on like a tear. It seemed like connection was on my side. Everything was actually registering a little bit better than what it normally did in terms of bullets and everything. I was even being reasonably aggressive with my M16, and for those of you guys that are new around here, I have become an M16 addict, and I even prefer using the iron sights over the optics. I just aim better with the iron sights. Go figure. And I use the suppressor. Go figure. But people were dropping like flies. The aim was spot on. The hit registration was spot on, and it was just like, whoa! This was fresh breath of air, right? And then after like a minute or so of just running around not finding anybody, I press the select button or whatever, and basically I'll always call it the select button, by the way. But anyway, I press the select button and I look at, and only 2 people in the lobby remained, and then that one person ended up leaving, and then it was just one person left. And I think that's partially why the score was only 37 or whatnot, is because most people ended up leaving. And they ended up rage quitting. And there's not even streaks in this game and such and such. So I kind of got requested from my comment section to kind of talk about this. Now, every once in a while, you guys will make requests about, I really want your opinion on this. I really want your opinion on that. And if I am qualified to do so, as well as if I'm interested in, and as well as if it fits very well in terms of, the channel, then I don't see why I wouldn't do it, especially if there's nothing else to talk about, and we're kind of in a in-between phase when it comes to XDefiant until the next update or until the next whatever. But but the thing is, like, when it comes to certain requests, I can't fulfill them because simply I am either not interested in a particular subject, or I do not play said game that other people want me, that another person might want me to talk about. But in terms of rage quitting, you know, it's really easy for somebody to kind of point their finger and say, oh, rage quitting is more apparent than ever now. People have become so you know, so easy to quit. You know, they're complaining about everything. They quit the game. You know, obviously rage quitting goes way beyond just quitting a lobby. You know, I mean, people, like, once people have run into any said given problem with this game, they will put the game down and they'll uninstall it and they'll never install it again. I'm pretty sure I touched up on that in the previous video. However, I am actually going to say that rage quitting, I believe that one of the biggest core causes when it comes to rage quitting, and why it seems to have become worse over the last handful or so years or so, is because skill-based matchmaking and the game, or should I say engagement optimized matchmaking, actually, which is exactly what we mean when we call skill-based matchmaking in pubs, especially when you're looking at Call of Duty or whatnot. But anyway, so when I was about 7 years old, I learned that the training wheels, when you're learning how to ride a bike, absolutely does nothing for you. It really doesn't. I mean, it makes you seem like you're riding a bike, but it's basically doing the work for you. And then I'm like, okay, when I was ready after, you know, a certain period of time to take the training wheels off, I took the training wheels off and I went to ride the bike, and then I quickly realized within like 2 seconds that I didn't make any progress whatsoever. And then even at 7 years old, I was smart enough to realize that those training wheels didn't do anything. So, and then one of my friend's parents, or even my parents or something like that, or one of my parents were like, you know, we're going to help you and we're going to do it this way. You know, you're not going to use a training wheel anymore. You're going to try to attempt the bike, but I've got your back. You know, so it's like, if you go to fall and if it looks like you're going to get hurt or something like that, it's like, I've got your back. And then, of course, I think at that particular time, I was even wearing you know, elbow guards and knee guards or whatnot. So that way, if I did fall, you know, I wouldn't get hurt all that bad. But I had taken my fair share of falls, you know, back then, and scraped my knees quite a bit. But that's part of the beauty of being a child, right? And that's part of the beauty of the learning process, is you're going to fall down and you're going to get your scraped knees and elbows and stuff like that. And, you know, you'll be fine. You know, it sucks, it hurts, but you'll be fine. And then eventually you'll be able to ride the bike, and then you'll never, ever, ever need training wheels again for the rest of your life. You can go 10 plus years, right? Or longer without riding a bike ever again. But when you get on that bike, guess what? Your muscle memory takes over, you remember everything, and you're going to be able to ride that bike. That's basically how it works. And it's the same thing exactly with first-person shooters and everything else. However, the engagement optimized matchmaking in so many multiplayer games that people are playing today, right, which XDefiant has none of, right? There's no engagement optimized matchmaking in XDefiant, right? So it's like people will get on and it's like, you know, those training wheels are off. It literally like takes the training wheels off. So you actually have to learn and get better, and, you know, eventually you'll get rewarded for that. And the training wheels, as much as some of you guys won't believe it, it doesn't reward you at all. It's an illusion, a powerful illusion, but it's an illusion nonetheless, which is exactly what engagement optimized matchmaking is. So all of a sudden you take that away, people are going to be falling and, you know, getting their elbows scraped, and they're going to, you know, and they're going to realize that, like, those training wheels never really did anything for them. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that prefer the training wheels. You know, they don't care. They'll go on training wheels for the rest of their life, and they'll say, yeah, I'm riding a bike, when actually, in actuality, they're not, you know, because the training wheels are pretty much doing everything for them, so to speak, right? So ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you is that you're basically going to just have to basically get to a point to where you have a certain level of understanding, a certain level of time played into the game, to where you start to actually get better. And you're a human being. There really is no excuse. I mean, the thing is, you're a human being and you are built to learn. See, this is one thing that I've mentioned in previous videos, and I'll say it here again. Like, you are very capable as a human being to learn, and for that muscle memory, that mind muscle memory connection to kind of kick in, and for you to get better, for your aim to get better, for you to get more kills, for you to be able to move better, to make better decision making skills, and doing all these things in combination, reflexes, aiming ability, etc., etc. All of that, every single person that plays has the ability and the capability, as a human being that you are, to get better. Now, granted, I will say this though. If you are a single player and you just happen to run into a full team and it ends up being a terrible experience, that I completely understand. The game does prioritize to find other single players or whatnot, because it usually goes, people that are running with parties, playing with other people that are running in other parties. But obviously that doesn't always happen, right? And when that does happen, when you do have to face, a party and you're completely by yourself and you're a complete like a newbie at the game, and you don't have that much experience, or maybe your skill level just isn't that high, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't matter really. It's a damn video game at the same time. It's a casual shooter, right? What happens is you end up having a very, very, very dreadful experience, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, that is probably somewhat of a reason to justify, the whole, rage quitting thing. It's like, yeah, a 1-on-5. Like, for instance, I know players, I've seen people on YouTube, right, that are some of the best and most respected players from ever since back in the OG Call of Duty days, that they would obviously get matched up with a party, right? They see that in the lobby they're going to get matched up with a party, and they're playing by themselves, and there's like a party of 6 or whatnot. They back out immediately and they search for another lobby, because that's going to be an absolutely like dreadful experience, even for them being a skilled player or whatnot, right? So, and in that aspect, there's nothing wrong with that aspect, quite frankly. You know what I mean? So. But for the most part, if it's an average lobby, what you want to do is just stick with it. The training wheels are off, stick with it. And I guarantee you, regardless of whatever your skill level is, regardless of whatever happens, you will get better with time. It doesn't happen overnight. However, you can learn multiple different lessons going in from session to session. And when you combine those lessons and when you actually put those lessons into use, in other words, you're not just taking in the lesson, but you're actually applying what you learned, guess what? The results will show in the scoreboard. The results will show in how well your aiming is and how well your strafe shooting is and your decision-making skills. All of that will show, and it will happen little by little. And you know what's the best part of this is? The game becomes more addictive and more fun to play once you start to see those results. And that's the beauty of it. You don't get things like that when you have engagement optimized matchmaking in your game. You don't. It's all artificial. It's not real. It's doing so much of the work for you. It's protecting you so much. It's those damn training wheels that are on still forever that keep you from having that sense of gratification of making it to the other side. Trust me. And when you do, it is so satisfying, and you want to continue to get better and better and better. And to this day, for someone like me who's been playing first-person shooters for many years now, I can tell you that it's something that continues to be a factor for me. In other words, what I say is whenever I play a game, right, especially one that doesn't have the algorithm like this one here, right, when I play a said game, I really enjoy going through that aspect, because at the end of the day, what I enjoy getting better because the game ends up feeling better and I end up playing better. And I know that from session to session that the more time I put into it and the more I discover and all that other stuff, like, it just makes it more satisfying. And that's what keeps me coming back to the game, is because it's satisfying. Getting a kill is satisfying. Getting a win is satisfying. It's very basic for me, and predicting where people are going to be is satisfying. Maybe picking people off here and there is satisfying. Like, doing everything that I'm doing, going from map to map, and maybe experimenting by using other weapons, et cetera, all of that is fun and satisfying. And I wouldn't be having it if those training wheels were to stay on. The training wheels are obviously like the ultimate stop sign, to reaching your potential, believe it or not. And like I said previously, it is a lot of people prefer the training wheels because they don't want to fall and scrape their knees or whatnot. But everything comes at a price, guys. Everything in life has a price tag on it, right? No matter what it is, and no matter what category it is, no matter whether you're playing video games, whatever it is, everything has a price tag. And if you want to make it to that other side, you got to be willing to pay that price. But at the same time, you got to remember, it's just a video game. And don't you think that it's right for you to actually, for you to be better, that you actually have to like go through the motions and go through everything that every other player that has played a video game to get better? Like, don't you think you have to go through what they went through as well? Like, for instance, let's say you want to be a Call of Duty pro. Okay, let's just say you want to be a Call of Duty pro. Don't you think you have to go through a lot of the things, if not everything, that all those other Call of Duty pros are going through, or what they went through in order to become pro, with the insane amount of hours put in, with learning the communications and learning the call outs, learning strategies and developing strategies, putting that extra time, sacrificing other things in order to have more time to become better at it. If you want to make it to that level, to be that top 1% of the entire population that plays, right? Don't you think you have to do that in order to even be considered of being a top 1% player, or to even have a chance to get to that level? Absolutely. There's no shortcuts when it comes to it. Same thing with exercise. To this day, there are so many companies out there that are making money hand over fist by selling people BS, right? And giving them false information on how to properly lose weight. And this is the answer, guys. You want to lose weight? You got to be on a calorie deficit. Simple as that. If you go on a calorie surplus, okay, you're going to gain weight. You go on a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight, okay? If you're on a maintenance, you're not going to gain or lose. Simple as that. So the trick is finding what your maintenance is. So let's say your maintenance in terms of not gaining or losing weight for your body to sustain itself is 2,000 calories. You go anywhere below 2,000 calories, you're going to lose weight. You go anywhere above, you're going to gain weight. Now, some of you guys also might be wondering, how many calories do you need of a surplus do you need in order to gain 1 pound of fat? The answer is 3,500. Simple as that. So anyway, just thought I'd add that in right there, because it's really the analogy. And I figured, hey, might as well just help, because some people believe that you got to do this to lose weight, or you got to do that to lose weight because this person said so. It's like, no. It's the laws of thermodynamics. It's the absolute truth. You got to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So with that being said, guys, I think I've said enough in this video. I hope you enjoyed in terms of the video itself, in terms of what I had to say. And of course, in the comment section below, for those of you guys that have anything you want to add, and you always do, whether it's love or whether it's hate or whether it's just random comments, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say down below. So with that being said, I like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.